This is the nation station, WLW in Cincinnati, your Clear Channel service. Eastern Standard Time, 1:30.
NBC Radio News on the Hour, brought to you by Wynn's friction-proofing products to correct and prevent car trouble from radiator to gas tank. Now here is Martin Agronsky, NBC News.
President Kennedy denounced critics of his foreign policy today as prone to confuse rhetoric with reality. On the second day of his Texas tour, the president used a Dallas speech to contend that those who advance seemingly swift and simple solutions to every world problem will end in endangering the nation's security. Though the president didn't mention Arizona Senator Barry Goldwater by name, there was no doubt his remarks were aimed at the man who is now regarded as the front runner for the Republican presidential nomination. Acting Commerce Secretary Franklin D. Roosevelt, Jr. has testified to the Senate Banking Committee that the U.S. will have to hurry its decision on selling surplus wheat to the Soviet Union, as the Russians have now set a May 21st deadline for beginning shipments. Roosevelt argued against the proposal of South Dakota Senator Munt to bar government-sponsored credit for wheat purchases by any communist nation. He contended this restriction would bar U.S. businessmen from getting a fair chance to win a part of Russia's annual $4 billion of trade with the free world. At the United Nations in New York, the 17 member states of the presently postponed Geneva Disarmament Conference voted to resume negotiations at Geneva next January 21st. And more news after this from Wynn's Friction Proofing.
Carefree driving begins with a can of Wynn and a can of Wynn. Today.
Did it happen this morning? Did you step on the gas and finally realize that the pep and zing your car used to have is gone? Sort of takes the joy out of driving, doesn't it? Well, there's a very good answer to your problem. It's called Wynn's Friction Proofing. Wynn's Friction Proofing restores a healthy measure of the pep your car has lost with age. It increases power and gas mileage, makes starting easier on cold mornings. But best of all, Wynn's Friction Proofing penetrates the surfaces of the moving parts inside your engine. It smooths and seals these parts to hold engine wear to an absolute minimum. Next time you stop for gas or service, add a can of Wynn's Friction Proofing to your crankcase. Your satisfaction is guaranteed, or your money back.
So add a can of Wynn's today.
Here again, Martin Agronsky.
A two-day conference between West Germany's Chancellor Erhard and France's President de Gaulle has ended, and a report from NBC's Bernard Frizzell in Paris.
West German Chancellor Ludwig Erhard made plain here today the German government's reliance upon the United States for its defense against the threat of Soviet aggression. That was the note on which Erhard wound up his two-day visit here to President de Gaulle. The French were reportedly careful not to present to Erhard a choice between themselves and the United States. But the Germans were said to be astonished at the sharply critical attitude of the French toward American policy. A joint communique called for all necessary efforts to get the common market moving forward again and to increase trade with the United States through the forthcoming Kennedy round of negotiations for tariff reductions. But no concrete agreements were announced. This is Bernard Frizzell, NBC News, Paris.
Democratic Senator George McGovern of South Dakota, home state of the Fisher quintuplets, has a letter from a constituent that he finds hard to answer. The constituent writes that he doesn't mind a bit all the gifts to the Fisher family, but that he feels he's being unfairly treated despite his similar circumstances. I've got 5 children, too, he complains to Senator McGovern, and just because mine came one at a time, no one has given me a cent. Michigan's Governor George Romney insisted today at the Midwest Governors Conference in Omaha that he is not seeking the Republican presidential nomination next year. This is Martin Agronsky, NBC News, Washington.
When your child is sick with a cold or flu, remember what doctors recommend. Bed rest, plenty of fluids, and aspirin to reduce fever and relieve pains. When you give orange-flavored Bayer aspirin for children, your child will feel better fast. And knowing he feels better, so will you. Each tablet is the 1 1/4 grain dosage doctors recommend for children. And it gives you such confidence to know you're giving the best. So always, orange-flavored Bayer aspirin for children. This has been NBC News on the Hour. Listen again on the hour for NBC Radio News, brought to you by Bayer Aspirin for Children. Emphasis adds to your listening enjoyment, weekdays on the NBC Radio Network.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Friday, November 22nd. Welcome to the Tune Pipe. Fred Bernard and Little Abner here until 3 o'clock. It would appear to be another one of those gray and overcast days with some rain falling around the tri-state area, cloudy skies to continue with the showers off and on again, that type of day. Be a little windy this afternoon, too, with highs in the upper 60s. While we're at it, we'll get right to the forecast. Present temperature is 58 here in Cincinnati, and the relative humidity at 85%. Indianapolis has rain and 58. Dayton has rain, 65 there. Columbus, 65. Louisville, 68. Lexington, 69. Huntington, 69 degrees, and they're all reporting cloudy skies. Leading edge of the rain is showing on the radar from near Toledo to Dayton to Andersonville, Indiana, to midway between Louisville and Evansville. Now you have it all in your mind. This places the eastern edge about 40 miles west of Cincinnati. The rain is spreading eastward, 15 to 20 miles an hour. We may have a few sprinkles in advance of the main rain area, which falls mainly on the plain, but that's next week. This week, Little Abner. We're going to visit Dog Patch, USA, and to get you in the mood, let's have ourselves a little hoedown. We'll have to stand by here just a moment. There may be something happening. Yes, there is. There's a bulletin just handed me from Dallas, Texas. An unknown sniper fired 3 shots at President Kennedy. This is in connection with President Kennedy, who is now touring Texas, as you know. I'll tell you exactly how this reads. Dallas, an unknown sniper fired 3 shots at, and then there are 5 letters, PMOUX, then a flash. Kennedy's name is misspelled, flash again, and at the bottom of this headline it says, Kennedy seriously wounded. We will, of course, be awaiting further details on this story, so please stand by. This report just in from Dallas, Texas, an unknown sniper firing 3 shots, evidently at the presidential party while they were touring Texas. At the bottom of this it says, Mr. Kennedy has been seriously wounded. We will, of course, bring you details as they are received. And in the meantime, we'll go to Dog Patch. This is the overture to Little Abner, Lehman Engel and Orchestra.
Shot. Who? Kennedy. President? Yeah.
Here is a bulletin from the WLW Comex newsroom. A late bulletin from Dallas where 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade today in downtown Dallas. No casualties reported at first. However, the latest flash indicates President Kennedy was seriously wounded, perhaps fatally, by an assassin's bullet. Now, that's all the information we have. A bulletin, a sniper apparently seriously wounded President Kennedy in downtown Dallas today, perhaps fatally. We'll keep you posted as the news comes into the WLW newsroom. Here's another bulletin from Dallas. The latest report says President Kennedy and Governor Connally of Texas were cut down by an assassin's bullets while they toured downtown Dallas in an open order today. Clint Hill, a Secret Service agent assigned to Mrs. Kennedy, said he's dead as the president was lifted from the rear of a White House touring car and rushed to an emergency room in the hospital. The president, his limp body cradled in the arms of his wife, was rushed to the hospital where the governor of Texas also was taken. That is the latest information on the either assassination attempt or assassination of President Kennedy in Dallas, Texas this afternoon. We'll keep you informed as the latest bulletins arrive in the ComEx newsroom.